Hi, I'm Natalie Jill, fat loss expert turned high performance coach. When odds are stacked against us, how do we shift and create everything from nothing? How do we level up when we aren't feeling it yet or we've had a big setback? On this podcast, I'll be talking to some of the most inspiring and courageous men and women on this planet who, at their worst, learned how to achieve success greater than they ever dreamed possible, leveling up and creating everything from nothing. Passion for food runs in Travis's family, and it was running in it since he was born. I mean, he grew up in a big Italian family where he learned the biggest sin of all was to deny food when it was offered. But something wasn't right. His mom, she suffered from migraines daily. Now, after watching his mom spend thousands of dollars and so much time on traditional medicine, he noticed that the most difference with her health was when she changed her diet. And this changed the way Travis looked at food. From there, Loom was born. Now a very successful health food brand, Travis is shaping the world with his products and his vision. Tune in today and learn exactly how Travis leveled up and created everything from nothing. I'm so excited to have Travis Piéd. Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
I did. I nailed it finally.
You got it.
Okay.
You
From Loom, and I'm dying to jump in and talk to him today because those of you that have followed me, at least on my Natalie Jill Fit page, my nutrition, fat loss, aging in reverse pages, I share a lot of recipes and I teach women how to eat unprocessed natural food diets and age in reverse. And two big ingredients that have been a huge theme are collagen protein. I've talked a lot about that. And also granola, whether it's granola with grains or grain-free granola with that trend. I talk about those a lot. And recently my friend Carl had introduced me to you, Travis. And I was so excited because I wanted to know who the founder was behind this amazing concept and this cool packaging that's super eye-catching and great.
Thanks.
And this yummy product. And I could not believe when I learned that you were only 24 years old. I couldn't believe it.
Starting young. Hey, that's how you got to do it.
That's how you got to do it. So I'm really thrilled that you're here today with me and I get to jump into your story and dig into what made you come up with this concept, how you jumped into entrepreneurship so easily, or I think it looks easy from the outside, maybe it wasn't.
Nah. Hey, it was a process for sure. So
yeah.
I'm sure you know that as well.
Yeah. So I'm dying to jump in. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think it's really cool, like you said, with being intro from Carl and talking over the past few months and being here one-on-one with you and being able to really dive in and share each other's stories. It's really special.
And Travis, it's funny because I interview so many people on how they create everything or nothing, and they're usually in their 40s or 50s, and it's like they really had all these failures and ups and downs, and it's very rare that I've got a 24-year-old that's doing it.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, it's funny, like you said that, like jumping in, so I feel like when I was a kid, and I was thinking about this earlier today in this past week, I always kind of, in the back of my head, had that knack for, I want to start my own thing. I want to do my own thing. And I had that since I was pretty young.
Really?
I think pretty influenced. My parents, they're always pretty supportive with that.
Okay.
I remember going to my dad and talking about like, hey dad, I want to start this ski equipment clothing. I was really into skiing back then. So that was like, I remember at like 12, I was like, I want to start my own like outerwear company or stuff like that. So it was always kind of just. You
had that, you were born with it, like that entrepreneurial bug.
Yeah, it was a bug. Yeah.
Okay.
It was.
So take us back. You were a kid, because I listen and I have a 12-year-old. I'm like, how do I get her to have that entrepreneurial mindset? So take us back. What was it like as a kid, and where did this even come from?
Yeah, totally. So, so going back with my parents and just kind of the family I grew up in, my dad was a musician and chef beforehand. So he always
interesting combo.
It is. It was definitely interesting, and he always had that kind of creative outlet. My mom was a kindergarten teacher. She still is. So kind of combining those two, it was definitely a creative household. And I think a lot of inspiration came from that.
Okay.
To where, my sister and I were just really involved and surrounded by music and architecture. My grandpa was an architect. A little bit different from the rest of my town that I grew up in. So I think that carried on throughout my childhood.
Okay.
Just from a creative standpoint. But grew up on the East Coast in New Jersey.
So did I. We bonded over that earlier. Not New Jersey, but East Coast.
East Coast, right. And so came out here about 6 years ago, school at San Diego State. Came from a big Italian family. My grandparents on my mom's side were originally from Italy.
Okay.
And so, as you can imagine, big Italian family.
Pasta, lasagna. Yeah.
Bread, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, every week, every Sunday, it would be like Thanksgiving. And that, a lot of my earliest memories just surrounding food and what I thought really was like the ground foundation for starting Loom, just taking it way back, was my big Italian family.
Yeah.
And I mean, so every Sunday we would go over to my grandparents' house and they would have, 10, 15 of us, all my cousins there, just cooking up a storm. My grandpa was the big cook.
Okay.
And usually it's pretty funny because in Italian families, it's usually like the grandma's the big cook. But for some reason, my grandpa just like took ownership of that. That was his thing. And I mean, I could picture like we would walk up to their house, and before you even open the door, you could just smell the food from the kitchen.
Totally. Oh my gosh.
Just you could literally smell it from outside. And
I can smell it just you describing
right?
it. Yeah, it's like it sounds good.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was the best. And you'd open that door and you just get like a huge whiff of garlic and oil. That's like the staple in Italian cooking. And so I'd walk in, my grandpa would be doing his thing, working his magic. I would just be in the kitchen, it was a super tiny kitchen, 5 by 10. But that's like the living room in Italian families. So everyone congregates to the kitchen. That's like where everyone hangs. Doesn't matter how big your living room is, you just all go there because the food's there.
Yeah.
And so we would just, we would be there, I swear, for 3-4 hours just at the dinner table. My uncle was cracking jokes, telling stories. It was literally the best memories growing up as a kid. My grandpa would share stories about the Great Depression, how he grew up, and just like all these crazy stories. There was always something new, just everyone laughing the whole time. And,
so it's almost like all your childhood memories are really around food. Like
they are. Yeah, it's actually really funny. And especially with my dad, like I said, being a chef, it was two different takes. Like my grandpa was really traditional Italian food. My dad had more of like a unique, like eclectic approach to cooking.
Sure.
So it was this funny kind of balance. My grandpa would always like go to my dad, like, Keith, like, what is this like? Oh, what is all this like bullshit? Like all this stuff you're mixing and all these different sauces. My grandpa was really traditional, and but it was. So I was just surrounded by that from day one.
Yeah. So, okay. Now with that, because food is fun and community and stories, and I can relate. I wasn't the Italian family, but food was a big part of that too. And I can smell the garlic, like literally just hearing you talk right now. What was your family's health like? Like, was there obesity amongst that? Did they associate it with that? Or was that a non-issue that you could remember then?
It wasn't, not really obesity. I mean, no one was really obese in our family. There was definitely, we used to call it the Italian gut.
Yeah. It was like the normal thing.
Oh, that was the normal thing. But not big obesity, but at the time it was funny because, we were eating all that bread and that pasta.
Totally.
Kind of, I mean, it was wholesome food, but it was just too much of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think we realized that was kind of playing into our health as much as we should, like early on. And that kind of tied into the start of my mom when I was about 10, 11 years old. She was suffering from migraines, like really severely. And that had been going on for many years beforehand. And I mean, she would come home and be in excruciating pain. This was like 6-7 days a week.
Wow.
It wasn't just like 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
And so we thought food could have had a big play into that and just kind of the whole lifestyle. And
did you know that then, though, when she was saying she had the headaches?
No, not really. Yeah, that was something we kind of like discovered later on.
Yeah.
Once she kind of hit that breaking point.
So how did that affect you as a kid? Like I'm thinking of my daughter, age 12, and your mom's every day sick with a headache or migraine, which is a severe headache. Yeah. What were you telling yourself about that when that was happening?
Yeah, no, it was interesting. I mean, me and my sister would come home from school and she would be laying on the couch, just in pain.
Yeah.
Some days she couldn't go to work. She'd just be in bed. She'd get, and I've only had a few migraines in my life, but she had all the effects. So she would get like the tingly fingers, the blurred vision, nauseous,
the severe ones.
Yeah. So she couldn't really do anything when she had them.
Yeah.
And so that was yeah, that definitely inhibited kind of the family life when we were trying to do things, and my mom was just, on the couch. Especially, an Italian mom, all she wants to do is spend time with her kids.
Totally. So you said you had like this entrepreneurial bug earlier. Was anything, when this was happening to your mom, did you have ideas around that?
Well, yeah, it was funny. So we were talking about this a few weeks ago, and kind of throughout that time, I would literally spend like hours in my kitchen just making concoctions. And I thought of that. I was like, I want to make something that's healthy that we could all eat. I was like, maybe it'll help with the headaches. Maybe it won't. But
where did you learn that? Like, where did you tie? Because I'm thinking of a 9 or 10-year-old kid. Like, where did you tie that food might be causing this with my mom, or food could help my mom?
So I think it goes back to Italian cooking with, at the purest form, just using those simple ingredients that are healthy, olive oil, garlic, and knowing those healing properties off the bat. I think that really stuck with me, even though, that was in its simpler form. But then I started experimenting with different foods as my parents slowly started getting into that, like the chia seeds, the flaxseed.
Was your dad the one as a chef telling you this? Like, how did you, like, because I'm thinking of, I'm just trying to picture like a general Italian family, and they're into the flavors and the food, but I wouldn't have associated, they're talking about the health benefits of certain things. Was your dad doing that early? Is that where you were first hearing that?
He was. So that was more from my dad, from the whole kind of the whole health standpoint. I mean, my mom had a lot of the traditional, like I said, like the garlic for, when you're sick, like just whole garlic cloves.
I totally do that still, by the way.
Do you really?
Yeah. Like if I feel a cold coming on, I'm eating raw garlic. Whether it really works
later.
or not, I don't know. I think just the smell of it probably kills whatever's happening.
It literally, it's so strong.
That's what I think.
It's so strong. You literally smell for like
I'll eat it raw. Yeah.
Right. And so my dad was more of the proponent on the whole health side. He was working in New York, in the city at the time, and he was running a rehearsal recording studio, and he would run into a lot of different people with all these different perspectives.
Okay.
One of the guys he was working with, Brock, he always had these crazy ideas, and he would come in with these different herbs and supplements from around the world, and he really got him on the whole bandwagon for holistic health.
Okay.
And so I don't think we really would have made that change if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
And he kind of brought that into the family at the time, and then started integrating that into my mom's health.
Okay.
To try and relieve her headaches.
So you were making like little concoctions to try to help her too. Did you figure anything out that helped her? And how did she get the help with her migraines? Yeah.
So in the beginning, I mean, I would throw a bunch of stuff in the pot.
Yeah.
The flax seeds, the chia seeds, the whole wheat flours, and I would just make like these cookies, like these cookie balls. Probably tasted like crap, but I was like, hey, if this could help her and help our family stay healthy, then.
Did she eat them? Did she try?
Of course she did.
Did she like them?
She loved them. Well, she loved them.
Yeah.
Probably not, but always super supportive in that. So I would just throw all these different ingredients together and kind of work my magic.
I love it. So what was the journey with your mom's migraines? Like what happened there?
Yeah. So that started what she thinks is one of the root causes. She had she broke her coccyx bone.
Okay.
A while ago. That was what some people were telling her was one of the root causes. She didn't really think so. Thought more of it was diet, lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so she suffered with that for like 25, 30 plus years.
Wow.
And so once she kind of hit that breaking point, and my dad kind of brought that new nutritional mindset into the family, completely started cutting things out, like went dairy free.
Yeah.
Cut meat out. Products.
She go totally vegan, or what was the?
Not totally vegan. Just tried to cut meat out as much as she could. And so she started getting rid of all products that she was using topically that had any chemicals. So any like deodorants with aluminum. Get rid of toothpaste with fluoride. Get rid of any soaps, like shampoos, just the whole kind of 9 yards. And it was funny because we always talk about that, and people are like, well, what was that one thing that helped her? And she doesn't really think it was one thing. Thinks it's a combination of the healthy diet, the, healthy products she was using topically, the acupuncture, meditation.
Yeah.
So it was kind of everything coming full circle.
I believe that. I believe it's a whole approach. It's like we have to heal from the inside out with our food and what we're nourishing, but it's also what are we taking in, like on our bodies, but also like mentally, what are we taking in?
Yeah, totally. So it was kind of like this full spectrum thing. But dieting was at the kind of at the core. And so a lot of that inspiration for Loom came from that.
Tell me about that, because how did you just wait? Like, did you just wake up and say, I'm going to make granola with collagen? Like, how does that even come about? Like, I'm so curious how a 24-year-old even knows about collagen. Like, that sounds so, that's so in my field, but like, I don't know many 24-year-olds talking about it.
Yeah. But I mean, so I was just obsessed from honestly that age, like 12 years old, with just different supplements and herbs from around the world and how they affected us from the inside out.
Yeah.
Obviously with my whole mom and going through that was, I think, like at the core, that was a big inspiration. As I went through college, I was traveling a ton. I was, my junior year, I lived in Rome for about 4.5 months, was on the go all the time and didn't have time to cook those meals that I was cooking at home for myself, getting all those nutrients. So I would literally stock up on hundreds of supplements. Okay. My backpack looked like a freaking GNC store.
My husband still looks like that.
Really?
Yeah, I'll have to show you his backpack before you leave today. And we joke that he can live out of his backpack for weeks.
No, seriously, that's what it was like. I was like, I'm literally like living out of my backpack with these vitamins. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And so on all these trips, I remember I was in Greece at the time. Okay. And I'm going up this hill. I was on an ATV and just something clicked in my head. I'm like, that's it. Like, I'm taking all these supplements and, I was like, I'm going to take real whole food. Granola was something that I grew up on. It's a traditional snack. And I want to merge them with all these nutritional supplements that I'm taking that are really benefiting my overall well-being, merge them into one, to create basically supplements in real whole food form. So I didn't have to pop all these pills because it wasn't fun, first off. And so I was like, there's got to be a better, more fun, more delicious way to do this type of thing.
Well, to me, granola was like the original, before protein bars got big, like trail mix. Granola really is like trail mix if you think about it. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And for those of you that are not granola eaters or maybe only checked like some total commercial store brands, like granola can be terrible for you and it can be very healthy for you depending on what ingredients you use. And using whole unprocessed food ingredients makes it a super nutritious snack.
No, totally.
So tell me about the collagen part though. Like, okay, so back to that, like how did you know what collagen was and what were you using it for?
Yeah. And
tell for people listening that don't even know what collagen does, if you can just touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. So collagen is great support for skin health. That's pretty much like the number one thing. Rich in protein. So a lot of people will just use it as a protein in general. But it also has hair and skin health benefits, which are perfect. So you kind of get this multifunctional product. Yes. They're sourced from a few different sources. One is from marine fish. Okay. So that's actually what we use. It's a fish-based collagen. And then there's bovine, chicken collagen that are more animal-based. So there's a few different sources for collagen, but I started taking that when I was in college, around that time.
I take collagen too. And by the way, one thing he didn't mention is it's great for gut health.
It is. Yeah.
Huge for gut health. And I think taking collagen has changed my skin. For sure. Like, and the reason I started that is I knew people were injecting collagen, like women inject it in their lips or inject it in their face. And I'm like, okay, but if they're injecting it, like what would happen if you actually ate it?
Exactly.
And that's where I started digging into it.
Yeah. And I think along with a lot of other ingredients that like aloe vera extract that people use topically, it's a lot more beneficial when you're actually ingesting these ingredients and they're actually getting absorbed into your body. Yeah. Because a lot of stuff you put on topically, a small percentage of it actually gets absorbed.
Totally.
So that was also a big component to this. It's like, I want to create these products that have these ingredients that really, get to the core and are fully absorbed. And I just wanted to do it differently in that approach. because the only thing else was basically supplements.
And I don't know anyone else that was mixing collagen with a snack. Like that's such a cool concept. I'm starting to see some bars come on the market, but not like this where it's like a crunchy snack. It's so cool.
It's cool. So just wanted to do something different and kind of take all those ingredients that you typically have to buy in a pill.
Yeah. So tell me why, because a lot of people listening would have an idea like, okay, I want to include collagen or I want to include granola or whatever, but they wouldn't start a whole company. So like what made you in your 20s say like, okay, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to get a job. I'm going to like put everything I have into this because that's risky.
No, it is. I think it was just like kind of, I said earlier, like always kind of having that entrepreneurial spirit and knew something kind of like a light bulb hit where I was like, this is kind of my path right now.
Okay.
And I just wholeheartedly like knew that I wanted to do it. Especially after traveling and just wanted to incorporate, all those healthy teachings that I learned from growing up with my parents, and then merging my passion for branding into just one really unique component and calling that Loom. So it was just, it just kind of hit me, and I was like, this is what I know in my heart that I got to be doing right now, and I was like, I just have to go for it.
Okay, now I have so many questions about like how, because what I'm hearing, which is super cool, and I think this is a commonality in successful companies, is it was purpose driven. Like you had a purpose behind it, and you had a passion, and I think that so many people will start a business with just the idea of money. Like I just want to make money, and I think that that's a dangerous road because if you don't have a purpose and a passion behind it, it really that fizzles out quickly.
Yeah, and I think so. That's really true in the sense of like, say you get going and everything's going great, but then you hit these roadblocks. And you hit these roadblocks for a long time. The people who are actually passionate about what they're doing and they have a purpose behind it, they're going to persist through those times. But if you're just going after the money or the quick buck, when you hit those roadblocks, you're going to be like, all right, I'm out.
Yes. Okay. But that being said, we need money to start a company. So what did you do there? Like, did you, was it like you saving up? Did you go get investors? Like someone listening that wants to start a company, what would they do?
A lot of hard work. Right when I graduated school, I was working 2 jobs at the time.
Okay.
Basically from 8 a.m. to 10:30, 11 p.m.
Wow.
And I would come home and then be in my kitchen from 10 to 2 a.m. just making these.
Wow.
Yeah, just making these products. And I was just right when I graduated, like I was on fire. I was like I said before, I was like, I want to do this.
So
like,
in your vision.
I was just all in, just really focused. And so I was, a lot of my mentors that I was following on social media and whatnot, it just kind of dug that in my head, like if you want to do something, you'll find a way. And so that was kind of my mindset around it, and would just work really late nights. Saved up as much as I could to just start buying like these supplements to just start blending and these different ingredients. It was funny, like my roommates would be laughing. It's like these FedEx guys would show up at the door with like 50 pounds of like cocoa powder.
Like, what are you doing with
like
this?
What is this? They're like, it's a little like warehouse with all these ingredients. And so I was working a lot. I wasn't making a lot of money. It was just basically I was sharing a room just to keep costs down. Expenses like absolute minimal, like didn't go out, like honestly, like stopped seeing my friends a lot. I was just had to put everything I had into it.
So I got a lot of questions now, and when I ask you these, there's no right or wrong because I know that you this is but I'm genuinely asking because there's people listening that want to start a business. So and I think these are the things that would get in my head around it, so I'm asking. So they're kind of like rapid fire, but I'm curious, like, did you worry about like food laws? Like, I know, don't you have to have, is there food laws with products? And how did you figure that out? Like I don't know, can anyone just make a food and sell it? Like, how does that even work? Yeah.
So it's funny you say that. So that was actually the first like big roadblock that I hit. So obviously, when you're doing things a little bit differently than they're typically done, you're going to run into those problems. So when I was merging and blending these supplements and these herbs into these products, my first step was like, all right, I'm going to go in San Diego, go to these commercial kitchens and just make it myself. I couldn't get approved there because of the vitamin blends. So they're like, I was like, right when I graduated, I was like, this is going to be up and running in like 3 months.
You were just in your vision. You were like, let's go.
Yeah, I was like, let's go. Like, this is like, literally, I was like 12 weeks, like, this is it. We're done.
Yeah.
And that was our first roadblock I hit. And they're like, no, you can't make this here. Like, this has to be made in a professional facility because you can't, weigh these vitamins by hand. And so that's what led me on that whole path to, finding a co-packer and manufacturers and suppliers. And so that really extended, the length of us getting to market by a lot.
So what's interesting there is I think some people would hear that and go, okay, well then I'm just not going to do it. Like that would be the stop. But like, I think it's that vision and passion and purpose that keeps you going.
It was.
I would imagine.
Yeah. And once again, like I would always just tie that back. I was like, all right, like the inspiration behind my mom and, my family and growing up in food and like just wanting to create products like no one's ever seen before.
Sure.
And that always just kept me going through all that and just knowing in the back of my head, like it will happen. Like it's only a matter of time.
Yep. Okay, so 2 other questions that are coming up for me. Business plan. Did you put a business plan together? Did you go out and ask for investors? Did you just go?
I just went. Yeah. I didn't have a business plan.
See, everyone listen to that. You don't need a detailed business plan.
You don't. And I was just, my first step was like, all right, let's get into the farmers markets. Let's start there. Honestly, let's just make this make this thing and sell it.
Yeah.
As kind of the process went farther and recently needing investment to launch properly and get this thing going, then you need kind of more of that plan and strategy in line. But initially starting off, it was just like create the product and go and sell it.
What about market research? Did you survey people? Was it asking your friends? Was it asking like how did you find out like this, okay, this is something that people would be interested in?
Yeah. So the first step, my roommates were like the big taste testers.
Okay.
I would make stuff.
Your 20-year-old friends?
My 20.
Yeah. You're like, if they like it, everyone will like it.
A little naive at the time, but everyone, they would just try my stuff like every day. I would just make the stuff in the kitchen and be like, guys, try this. What do you think? And it was
Did they know what was in it? Did they know you were putting collagen in there?
They had no idea. They would come home and it was funny. So they would just see me mixing these vitamin powders. And this happened.
Trying to picture this.
Yeah, this happened like twice with 2 different groups of people that I lived with.
Yeah.
And so, I would be in my room like late night. I would order like 20, 30 different supplements.
Okay.
And just be mixing these like on my little like black IKEA desk.
Totally.
And I'd have like a little scale that I ordered off of Amazon to weigh all the amounts out. And my roommate, this one time my roommate Ari came in and I had like a big mound of white powder.
Oh, he thought you were a drug dealer. I know where this is going.
Yeah. And he comes in and he's like, dude, what are you doing? and I'm like, oh, I gotta play with this. So
That's
I'm like,
funny.
Dude, like, don't mention this. Like, I'm having a tough time, like, finding you right now. I'm like, keep it on the down low. And he was like, okay. And he just walked out, and I hear him like whispering to my other roommates, and they're like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? And then obviously I told them. But yeah, I had a lot of interactions with that. I would just be playing with these powders all night, all day.
You're a chemist with this.
Yeah, little chemist. People are like, you're like some chemist in here.
That's funny.
And then I started doing a lot of surveys. So like on college campuses, like I would pitch.
Sure.
Basically to anyone I could. I would do like survey monkeys.
Okay.
So I would have like a group of like 50, 60 people all try the product, have like, 10, 15 survey questions, price point, flavor, functionality, and just kind of did that consistently.
I think you nailed the product and the taste. Now, talk to me. You guys can't see if you're listening to the audio. You can't see the packaging, but like that's the other thing that I thought was super cool. Like he not only was he appealing to taste and a need, cutting edge supplement and nutrition, but like your packaging is super modern. And cool, different than I've ever seen.
Different, yeah, and that's kind of that goes back to kind of like that creative outlet I had growing up. I wanted to make something that wasn't perceived as a traditional like food and beverage product. And that was something I was really passionate about too, branding. That was like my other thing. And so I remember I was a freshman in college at San Diego State, and a lot of products started popping up like Perfect Bar, Suja juice.
Yep.
They just started coming out. They were like $10 a bottle. And I was like, wow.
I bought many for
right?
$10 a bottle.
I was like, kids were buying that on their meal plan.
Isn't that crazy?
Their meal plan was like $15-$20 for the day. I was like, that's half your meal plan for a juice. And I was like, wow, there's a market here.
It's the way, the packaging, the marketing. It's so smart.
It was. And so I took that, and then, I would just go to, Vons and Ralph's and all these different supermarkets and like go down the aisles, and I'm like, 90% of the snack bars and drinks, they were just all branded the same. Just
Yeah.
like a bunch of, nutritional like stamps on the front, like just trying to scream at you like why you should buy this product and how great we are type of thing. And nothing that really spoke to me from like a design standpoint, from a simplistic, like modern, creative edge. And I'm like, there's a huge gap for something like this. That actually like a product that, almost resembles like a skincare wellness type product, but in food and beverage.
It's funny because when Carl first introduced us, I thought it was a skincare line. Like I didn't understand it was a food. And then I'm like, oh, what? This is brilliant.
Yeah. So that's what a lot of people think. It was funny. Like I kind of wanted to throw people off when they see it. Yeah. And they're like, what is this? Like,
and he has written on there, take a bite of confidence. I love it.
Yeah. So I like, we kind of merge like that conversational approach to our branding. So we'll have like little like messages that you'll see like on our packaging and our website.
So talk to me about setbacks when it comes to branding. And because I'm imagining, maybe I'm wrong, that a lot of people had a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
Like, how did you stay your course with your vision? Because I can say for sure, I've overcome being a people pleaser. I'm continually working on overcoming being a people pleaser. So like I have an idea, someone gives me their opinion, and I think that I have to take their opinion. Yeah. How did you manage that?
Yeah. So I think from day one, this was my vision, 100%. But at the same time, it's hard to kind of put the puzzle pieces together to create that. It was in the back of my head. I was like, this is what I wanted to create. Like I had the image, but it was hard to like put it on paper, so to say. And that's so true. Like I mean, this took a long time. Like this wasn't overnight.
Sure.
Like this was probably like close to 100 iterations with my designer.
Isn't that funny? People see things as overnight success, but they don't know like this whole process behind it.
This is a long process. We went through tons and tons of labels, boxes, like
to get it right.
A lot.
And then how do you decide like if you're going to sell something on your website or get it on Amazon or in stores? Like is that like a one step at a time? I'm so curious about all of that.
Yeah. So, well, that's funny. So I built the brand to be e-commerce focused. I really want to have it, directed mostly towards e-com.
Sure.
That was like my vision from day one. But as you
why did you choose that?
I just thought from an aesthetic standpoint, it would really resonate with people. The functionality, I just thought we could really, and from a creative aspect, that's what I was really, pumped about was like, okay, I think I could do just with advertising, like this could be done really well. Yeah. And different from a lot of other food companies. So I feel like people would really resonate with it. But as we kind of got farther, those strategies change. Okay. And depend on the stages that you're at. Mm-hmm. So like right now we're focusing a lot on retail. And really want to create that kind of ground in San Diego, LA, the West Coast, and then go a little bit more towards e-com once we kind of have that established a little bit more. Yeah. And so it definitely changes over time.
Totally. And then another question I have is about competition. Like so I really want to dive in here because I think I can't tell you how many times someone says, I have an idea, I want to do this, but it's already being done or somebody else is already doing it better. And I see that successful people just have blinders on. It does not matter what the competition is. So I'm wondering how that came up with you. Like there's a million granola brands. Yeah. There's a million collagen. Like how did you say like, I don't care, I'm staying focused on this?
Well, I think from the branding from a branding perspective, like that was one of the major keys. I was like, all right, there's, like I was saying before, like there's like 5,000 snack bars, granolas on the market that you could go into Vons and just be overwhelmed with. Sure. So I'm like, okay, that's always going to be there. There's always going to be someone coming out with something else. But hey, if creating a product is better than not creating a product. Yeah. So people, you have to get something out there. But having that differentiator with our supplement blends, with the vitamins, with the herbs, with the branding and the story behind it, like that's a differentiator in itself. Totally. So I wasn't so caught up on the competition for that matter. And also having that like bigger vision. Yeah. That, we're not, and I always tell people is like, we're not a granola company. Yeah. Like we're a lifestyle wellness brand, and granola happens to be like our first
Got it.
Product.
Okay.
So I always like to tell people like my vision is like to create the Lululemon of food and beverage.
I love it.
So to have this whole encompassing brand that has functional snacks, beverages, men's and women's grooming products, supplements. So not just this. So I kind of kept that vision in my head from day one, and that helped me go past and kind of keep going when I was like, oh, there's so much competition.
But I do think it's smart that you started with one thing, because I think some people would come out with so many things and then it's like confusing.
It's confusing, yeah. So I think, come out with like, 1 to 3 products at most.
Totally.
But keep that that core vision should always be at the forefront, and that'll help you like get past that competition.
Tell me about setbacks along the way. Have you had any of those, and how did you overcome them?
Always.
I want to hear about those. I know the listeners we're always looking for those stories.
Yeah. So when I first graduated, I didn't have a car, didn't have a place to live for like 3-4 weeks. I was just kind of couch surfing. So kind of the decision was like, all right, go back east, go back home with my parents, or kind of try and make this work. And I knew that I had to make it work.
Yeah.
And so I just kept on going. I started working the 2 jobs right when I graduated, working like super late nights, put every extra dime other than rent and student loans into this. The FDA and the not being able to make this in just a typical co-packing facility, like that was like the big first thing. Not really being able to see my friends a lot. I had to basically cut that out.
Not being able to be a 20-year-old kid.
Yeah. So that was like, there's a lot of sacrifice there. I mean, even now it's like you have to work a lot. And so it was kind of giving up like that, like giving up social life. And then just putting my head down. Finances was big. So a lot of it, I had to go into credit card debt to fund it initially, along with just all the extra money that I had. So that was a risk. And then just like on the daily, just living with that, like, okay, like I have this debt that I have to pay off. And
so you know what I see so I've interviewed a lot of people, and I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, whether they're coaching clients or from interviewing them or just in masterminds that I'm in. And I will tell you 100% the difference between those that are 7-figure and higher earners and those that stay stuck in the 6-figure or getting to the 6-figure. You know what the difference, the biggest thing I find is?
Curious.
The thought pattern of possibility versus why you can't. And those that live in possibility are the ones that I see that thrive.
Yeah.
And I love that you just shared that, because all those things you mentioned could have been hurdles. And that's what keeps the 6-figure or approaching 6-figure earner stuck, is all the reasons they can't. Yeah. And those that live in possibility with, I'm going to find a way. Yeah. It's a choice. I'm choosing debt right now. I'm choosing this right now. I'm choosing to put my social life on hold. That's living in possibility for our future. And that's why I know you're going to be super successful. It really boils down to that.
No, it does. And I mean, you're going to have that like the whole step of the way. Like it's just been constant roadblocks, honestly, up until this point. But yeah, having that and just being like, if you just have that in your head, like it literally doesn't matter what happens, like I will find a way to do it.
Have you ever had moments where you're like, self-doubt, like maybe I shouldn't do this or I want to quit? And how did you get yourself out of that?
Yeah, I've had a lot of those moments. Just kind of like having I think just once again, going back to the thing, like you have to believe in yourself. And it could be hard sometimes when you're continually facing just opposition, and like financing was like a big roadblock that I hit. Like I was just stuck.
Every entrepreneur has, by the way, Travis.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. That's that shot me down a little bit. Cause like I was going months of like not being able to like create the packaging. And it was just like, it sucked. And it was just like
scary.
Calling like as many people as I could, and just like mentors and like old professors and just like honestly anyone I could to just like get this thing going.
Yeah.
So it was months of like, well, shit, like, is this worth it? Like I'm just working like crazy hours and not seeing too much success. And I mean, that was like a 2-year process.
Yeah.
Of just constantly like running into those problems. And,
yes.
So yeah, it's just, you just gotta keep your head down and kind of know
Totally.
like it will happen, even though like I always had those thoughts.
Yes. And I believe that you'll continue to, I'll say, as being an entrepreneur for years, like there's so many of those ups and downs, and it is learning to navigate through that and having a support system and having a community and having other people that have lived there that you can say, totally. Okay, they did this too.
Yeah. And I think that's actually like really cool that you said that. So I think that's something that helps if you could watch interviews, like listen to podcasts with people that have done it and really hear like the raw truth behind it.
Yes.
Then you go into it knowing like, okay, this stuff is supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like if you're just going into it blindly and you don't really know like the reality behind it, then when you face these things, it's going to be like, oh, like why is this not easy for me?
Totally. And I believe there are rewards on the other side of those breakdowns with that.
Totally.
Yeah. So what are your big plans for Loom? Because this is I can't wait to like really follow your journey and your company, because you've already nailed it with a product.
Appreciate
I can't see how this would not just continue to take off.
Appreciate it.
What are your plans? What do you want to expand into? What's next?
Yeah. So kind of what I mentioned before, I really want to create this full encompassing like luxury lifestyle wellness brand. Something that goes way beyond just granola. I want to create a full line of functional food and beverages that, merge fashion, culture, a different audience than what people, and different product than what people are used to seeing.
Yeah.
Different supplements, men's and women's grooming products. So really creating this full like immersive experience. Eventually my big vision is to have brick and mortar stores. So say similar to a Lululemon.
Yep.
To where people could come in and, just be completely taken care of with their whole wellness kind of
I love that.
routine.
What a great vision.
So
2 more questions for you. One, where did you come up with the name Loom?
So I wanted something that really made people feel good, something that was bright, just would pop, short, simple. And so illuminescence was like one of the first words that I came up with.
Okay.
And then I kind of just started shortening it to illuminescence, like essence, illumin, Loom.
Got it.
Loom, and we got the trademark on it. So I was like, this is
perfect.
It. Yeah.
That was meant to be. That was meant to be. And then my next question is something I ask every guest on this show, and I'm so curious how you would answer this, because you probably don't even realize at this point how much mindset has played a role in this, but I believe mindset's key. So I'm looking for your tips here. If somebody's listening to this, because most people listening to this, they're looking for motivation. They're looking for the insight. They're looking for what sets great ideas apart, like what helps people level up and create everything from nothing. So if someone right now is listening and they're in their own personal, whether it's a rock bottom, hardship, maybe they're trying to start a business that hasn't taken off yet. Maybe their business has failed and they've had a setback. Maybe it's just a personal setback, like what your mom was going through with her migraines.
Right.
But they're looking for what are some things that they could do to start shifting and leveling up and creating everything from nothing right now. If you were to give them like 3 things, what would you tell them?
Yeah, definitely the first. So I would look at every problem as an opportunity.
Okay.
I think that's one of the biggest ones. So that'll really help you, when you're consistently hitting these roadblocks, if you look at them with that mindset, like every single roadblock is an opportunity.
Okay.
Then, you could just take off, because all these things that you think are going to hinder you, use that to, pivot and implement new processes and new ways of thinking to make it better. I would also surround yourself with people who are doing things that you want to do. That's key. So finding mentors, and everyone's different, because a lot of people, it's like, some people's mentors are books. Some people's mentors are actually people. For me, it was a little bit combination of both, but I think having that combination and really just having people on, like you were saying before, like your support line that you could call when you're facing these problems that have done exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
That helps a lot. And it won't make you feel like so alone in the process. The third thing would be to stay like authentic and true to yourself.
I love that. Okay.
And I think that will guide you in the right direction, because you can definitely feel it when you're on your right path. Like even if you're hitting like a bunch of problems, like you'll know in your head and like your heart when it's like, okay, like I know this is where I'm supposed to be and where I have to be. And if you're doing things for other reasons, like money or just success, like you'll feel that. And it might not hinder you in the short term, but in the long term, it's probably not going to make you happy.
Makes sense.
So just being like as true to yourself as possible. Obviously that could take a lot of time for people to figure out. But I just think you kind of know like at the time.
So good. Where can people try Loom? Where can they get it?
Yeah. So the best place right now is on our website.
Okay.
www.eatloom.co.
Okay.
.co, so not .com.
Okay.
We have 6-packs, so we have 2 6-packs or 3 6-packs. One with the 2 glows come in 2 different flavors. So we have lavender, vanilla, which is amazing, you all, by the way. It's our
so good.
bestseller. And then
have you mixed it with coconut yogurt? It's so good. It's so good. And I also did it where I took yours and I rolled it with sun butter because I'm obsessed with sun butter. Yeah. And I rolled it and I freeze them. Ooh. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Really good.
So good. Yeah, sun butter is like a sunflower seed butter.
I'm trying to picture that, like frozen granola balls. I think
I'm gonna make some again. I'll tag you in.
Yeah,
it's so
definitely,
good.
Definitely. And then so we have Fit. We have a 6-pack of Fit. That comes in cacao almond flavor. And then we also have a sampler pack, which is really cool. So if you guys are just trying to try one of each flavor to see how you like it, we call it our trio.
That's what I had started with. It's
the trio,
awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I would recommend that if you're just like trying to get started.
So good. So good. So you guys check out this product. Support Travis and his journey. I love it. This product is on point. It's totally approved by me for unprocessing your diet. I love it. And thanks for sharing your journey with us today.
Problem. Thank you for having me, Natalie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for leveling up with us today. Please share this episode if you found it helpful so others can join in. And don't forget to hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on future shows. And if you would leave me a 5-star review, I appreciate those so much. I read all of them, and it's how I know that I'm giving you information that you find valuable. And come interact with me over on Instagram at NatalieJillFit. I read all the direct messages and comments over there. Make it a great day, creating everything from nothing.